But I already do like all the stuff. Like I already go through previous races. Jonathan and I talk all week about what we're going to do, what the plan is. You know, maybe just a little bit more in detail about okay, little tiny things that you try to think of these things in your head. Okay, what if this happens, right? What if this happens? What's our plan? You know, so you just kind of plan a little bit more for things that could happen. I think that's more of the things that we've done differently than what we normally do, than what we did last week going into Martinsville, you know. So you spend so much time already on preparing and planning and figuring out what you need to do. Yeah, it's a little bit more for this weekend, I feel like, just in details. But at the end of the day, you're still racing like every week. You're going for a big prize. That's what calls for the little bit more discussion on small details. Yeah, this track's just kind of fit what we do in this car, especially. And even in years past, we've been strong here in the older generation car, but especially in this next gen car, we've been really strong. Had a great shot to win this thing in the fall last year. Had a good shot to win it in the spring this year. Hopefully, you can bring that same speed and build on what you learn. But yeah, just whatever we do at our shop, you know, just kind of fits this place. You know, I feel like we always done a really good job, no matter what size track. If like two different ends of the speedway are very different, we do a good job of making both end pretty good. You know, I look at a Texas, I look at Gateway. You know, here is similar to that. You know, we just do a good job at it of figuring out what we need to be, you know, travel wise and setup wise. So yeah, it just fits kind of our thought process, and so that's pretty nice. Hopefully, we can finally win one here. We've been close a couple times. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is it's like how do you handle the pressure of the moment, right? And you know, I've always said like, you know, if someone tells you that there's no pressure in these moments, they're lying, right? I mean, there's always pressure in these moments. This is what you do. This is what you live for. This is your livelihood. There's hundreds of people back at the race shop that rely on you. So there's pressure there. But it's like, how do you accept that pressure and how do you use it to your benefit with your group? So, yeah, I feel like, you know, mental toughness is very important, especially throughout the race. You know, throughout this week, throughout the race, there's gonna come a time where not everything's gonna go perfect. You're not going to be leading the whole race, you know, compared to these other three guys. You're going to have to figure out a way to get back to the front. So I think how you process that is like super important. So yeah, there's a big part of that. Yeah, with that would say that's with any situation, right? I mean, you know, you panic, you lose focus, and you know you kind of become scatterbrained. So it's a big part of trying to stay calm and focused on the overall task. That's like the biggest thing. Don't get too caught up in like one little thing that's going on. Just try to focus on the end result. I don't think so. No, I mean it's cool to have the opportunity to go back to back, right? You know, something that Penske's never done before on the Cup side. But no, I don't think with the 22 winning that championship last year, there's obviously good notes we can go off of, right? Like as far as coming back here and setup and stuff like that. But I don't think it's a huge advantage. You know, cars are a little bit different this year and stuff like that. William and I have always raced really well together. Personally, you know, he and I are buddies, and he's a good guy. I've gotten to, you know, the pleasure of getting to know him kind of in more depth with him, you know, the relationship side of that piece. And he comes from a great family. He's a good kid, awesome race car driver. So he and I have a lot of respect for each other. You know, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's kind of funny. We were both going for a championship. I told Aaron, I was like, you got the best percentage of anybody, of someone you care about winning this thing. I was like, you got a better chance than us four sitting up here. So, yeah, it is a funny dynamic. But at the end of the day, you know, he and I both understand we're still competitors, but we're going to race each other with respect too, you know. No, not really. You know, I feel like that stuff, you know, the off-track stuff and then behind the wheel is so different. Like, you know, you learn more about somebody racing them every single week, right? You can't really apply that to like outside the car, stuff like that. So it's all strictly kind of, I know how this guy's going to race or a movie's going to make because he's known for this kind of thing. I've seen it a few times in the race car. So that stuff doesn't really, I don't think it applies too much. Honestly, Monday, Tuesday was really good. Actually, I enjoyed more going to the race shop and seeing everybody. On Monday, we did our win toast on Tuesday with everybody. So that's always special having not only the NASCAR folks, but IndyCar, sports car there as well. And they, you know, seeing all them figuring out, you know, and supporting that we can go for a championship is massive too, right? Even the other series. So that part's the best to me. Yeah, we got it yesterday. I've been able to enjoy it, I think. A lot of people have told me that, like, hey, this weekend is what it is, but like, remember to enjoy it because it's an opportunity that not a lot of people get, right? You get to race for a championship. You get to be one of the 4 drivers going for it. So that part I've tried to like keep in my mind, like, hey, enjoy being here. Really kind of take it all in. You never know what's going to happen, right? You can never be here again. So like, you just have to really appreciate it while you can. But at the same time, not like lose focus on your job, your task, right? I mean, there's still a big task to do. So I don't know. It's actually been a pretty good week. I've really enjoyed it, and honestly all week I've just been itching to get here. I just wanted to get here and get going, and keep riding this wave that we've been riding. Yeah. Every time if you get here and you're not part of the 4, you're like very lenient towards those guys. At least I've always been, and that's how it should be, right? I mean, there's, I think every driver knows. And I wouldn't call it an unwritten code because it's not, but like just being respectful of, their race, understand what they're going for, like not racing the heck out of them, putting them in bad spots. Like you don't want to be involved in ruining someone's championship if you're not a part of that championship. So I feel like everyone's always been respectful of the 4 drivers, and like I said, everyone's different, but at least I've been, I've always just kind of let them do their deal and not messed with them, and just kind of let them race it out between each other. Oh, just the approach we have on the weekends, setup-wise, how we approach these places of 2 different ends, right? I compare this place a lot to Gateway. The corners are flipped, but, like, it's pretty similar. We just do a good job of kind of figuring out how to set our cars up for these very 2 different loaded ends. And it's just kind of fit the narrative for these racetracks. Hopefully it still fits it. We'll find out tomorrow. But as far as, and me personally, I've just enjoyed this place. I've always enjoyed it. It's a unique, challenging racetrack. Pretty funky place, so like there's a lot going on with the different lanes too. It makes it nice. Hopefully the track gets wide on Sunday to where you can move around. And with it being so hot, I think you're going to. So that's good, and it's helped this place out a lot as far as the racing side goes. But whether it's driver personally liking it and team, their ideas working well here, it just kind of all fits well together. As far as studying the other 3 guys here, 0. I mean, absolutely 0. Did I pay attention to where those guys finished like last year in the spring while I was rewatching the race? Yes, but like I didn't think about that stuff at all. You just try to worry about yourself, right? You understand who you're racing, but at the same time, you got to worry about yourself. You got to figure out, how do I get myself, our team, our race car working how it needs to around here? And then we're going to see how we stack up with those guys, right? And then in the current race, on Sunday, then you figure out, all right, where are they weak at, right? Are they weak getting in the corner? Do they not get off the corner very good? That's when you really apply that stuff, because it changes so much from race to race. Like, from the spring race here to this race, like if one of them was wicked loose in the spring race here, that could be totally different when we come back. So it's like you don't put really any thought into that.